Okay, welcome back to another session of Python. In our previous class, we started discussing about NumPy package. It is numerical Python where we are creating arrays. Arrays is nothing but a homogeneous data items in an array. Homogeneous data items in a array. List of values can be stored in array. Don't confuse the NumPy array with the list and tuples, because it seems to be like list and tuples, but it is functionality is different, memory representation is different, it is altogether it is different purpose. One simple difference I can say, arrays are not storing heterogeneous data items. You cannot mix up. Either you can go with integer or float or string, anything you can go, but you cannot mix up. But in list and tuple it is possible. So this is one major difference between. So arrays is a facility to store list of data in computer and to process the data provided by NumPy. NumPy is a package of Python. Now the problem I told you, in case if you mix up like integer and float, all the values will be converted to float. If you see the output here, all the values has been converted into float. 10 point, 20 point, 30 point, 40.5, 50 point, 60 point, and it is in a square bracket. Now the confusion comes from where square bracket means it seems it is a list and there should be comma 1. In list it will not say simply 10 point, it will say 10.0. Why it is not happening? This is first doubt. Okay, now let me create another array. Array name is B. NP array, and now this time I am not using a list, I am using tuple. I am using tuples. Say for example, I created like this tuples. After that I want to say print B. Now you see the print, both are in the same what it is called as in a square bracket. Both are square bracket. Whether you create with the help of list or you create with the help of tuple, you can supply the data with the help of list or you can supply with the data with the help of tuples. The output is within the square bracket and there is no comma. For your information, please try to understand, this is anyway it is not a list. It is not a list. Why? If you ask what is the type of object is, you know the type function, right? If you ask what is the type of function A is, it says it is NumPy ND array. ND means multi-dimensional array. ND means, so it is an object of NumPy ND array. Yeah. Welcome back, Gautami.
Thank you, sir. Sorry for the late.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Gautami, tomorrow is a local holiday here. If your time permits, will you join online class from 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning tomorrow? Is it possible for you?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, fine. Okay, done. Just we are discussing the yesterday's class. That is the previous class NumPy. Some confusions are there. We have started discussing about that.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Now what we started discussing is the program that you are seeing in front of your screen is using the array function. You can create an array of NumPy. It stores a list of values. The values should be homogeneous. Homogeneous means only one type of data. Okay. Now you can understand when I ask what is that object type of A, the output says that it is a class of NumPy.ND array. ND array is a class member of NumPy package. Member of. So the data object type is ND array. It is not list. Usually it will say class list. It is not saying one thing. Another, in my previous class itself, I told you, say for example, print what it is called NP linspace is used, right? I told you you can start by 5 After that you can go up to 10. Steps can be how much? Maybe divided by 2. Now if I say this one 0.5, 10. No, 2 values are coming. I have to divide it how many? 20. Now I am getting. In this output also you can see. So you have to understand that when you see the output in the square bracket, whatever you see in the square bracket, you cannot treat it as a list. You cannot treat it as a list. Here, when I checked the data type of A, it says it is NumPy ND array. It will not say you simply array, it will say ND array. ND means multi-dimensional array. Okay. And by this experiment we can understand whatever the array you are creating using the NumPy package, usually it is enclosed in the output with the help of square bracket. And also the elements are not separated by comma. If it is not separated by comma means, it doesn't mean that it is not a separate value. Obviously space is separating. So in the Python core, elements are separated by comma, but NumPy don't support that comma. Here space is as a separator. Space is a separator. To climb that one also, to climb that argument also, print values in A. Values in A. I want to print all the values of A. For I in A, print I. Now I want to print. Is it printing the output? 10, 20, 30, 45. Now is it giving you the 0? Why? Because I is a float data type. It is a float data. Let's check that one also. See, print type of, many times it will print, doesn't matter, for experiment purpose only. Okay. Now it says float 64. That float 64 is also, NumPy is having a float data type. It is bigger than the default core Python's float. It is not saying you simply float. It says NumPy float 64 bit. It occupies how many bits? So 64 bit means 8 times if you divide, 8 bytes it is taking in the space. Usually the core Python is taking 4 bytes. But bigger than that number you can store, bigger accuracy you can go for. Who is supporting that? NumPy is supporting. So core is giving you the fundamental things. More enhanced things are available from the library, from the packages. Now I hope you can get some clear idea about this. Now I'm deleting this. If you ask what is the type of value I, it is telling you it is all the values are float. Now the question here is, if this for loop is able to access element by element of A and store each element in I, and it is printing. That is what the for loop is doing. A is an array, NumPy array. It is having multiple elements. And one by one it is accessing. Who is facilitating this? For loop is facilitating. One by one, take the element, assign to I, print. Take the next element, assign to I, print. This one we are doing here. So, are we able to access individual elements without comma? Yes, it is possible. So, it means that here instead of comma, space is the separator. Space is the separator. Now, is it clear? So far now clear about NumPy arrays? Okay. Now moving on. Let me project the window for PDF document is there. I will project this. In our previous class, we were discussing how can we create a NumPy array. I told you not in one method, you have multiple ways. What are the ways? You can use array function, you can use linspace function, you can use arrange function, you can use zeros function, but most of the time you are using array function. If you need to fill up some values ready-madely, you will go with the linspace function. Now third function we are going, arrange function. How do you use that arrange function? It is not arrange. Please don't type double R. It will not accept. Arrange. Okay. Now arrange function is NumPy is same as range function in Python. What is the difference? There is no difference. Similar to range function. There is a starting point, there is an ending point, there is a step value. That much step values it will take. The following format is used to create an array using arrange function. Start, stop, step size. Start, stop, step size. Arrange 10 means start from 0 up to 10. Step values are 1. Step values are 1. 5 comma 10. Start from 5 up to 10. Step value is 1. 10, 1 minus 1. Start from 10. Last value should be 1. Step value is minus 1. Reducing 9, 8, 7, 6, 7. Got it now? So arrange function is very much similar to range function, but it is not part of Python. It is part of the Python package NumPy. So that's why without np dot you cannot use that arrange function. Why? If you are able to use arrange function directly, it is part of core. You are not able to use np dot arrange means what is the meaning? That function is part of the NumPy package. You have to understand the general rule. Okay. Now you see different formats has been created, and now arrange function they have given. Now here they are misleading commas are available in the output, right? Probably they typed hand typed. This is not copy pasted from the output. The output is misleading, right? Yes. There are two functions are there, ones and zeros. You can fill up with ones and zeros. Ones and zeros. We can use zeros function to create an array with all zeros. Initialized with zeros. If you are performing some addition operation, you have to initialize every element with 0. If you want to multiply something, you have to initialize all the values by 1. Because adding 0 with any number will not alter the number. Multiplying the number by 1 will not alter the number. That is the rule. Okay. Now how can you go with? You have to tell the data type also. If you want. It is optional. Now you see an array with 5 0 values. 5 means how many values? Once 5 means how many 5s? 5 5s. Now shall I demonstrate you the arrange function and ones and zeros, or you will be experimenting by your own? Demo. Okay, fine. I'll go for a demo program. In the same program, now let me take this program and I'll copy paste. Maybe you may experiment this program what we have discussed. Yeah. So I'll go for WhatsApp and I'll copy paste this one. Now I'll delete that program. I'll try a new one. NP a equal to who is this? Not your date, please. Peculiar name. I'll ask. And now okay, fine. Deepika, welcome back.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Deepika, we are discussing about the NumPy package that we already started.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just for your information, creating arrays in Java or in C++ or in C, but here we are creating with the help of a NumPy package. NumPy package provides a facility called as creating multi-dimensional arrays, one dimension, two dimension, multi-dimension. Okay, this is what we are discussing about.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Now, np dot arrange. For example, start from 5 up to 10. Step value is how much? I don't give any step value. Now, I want to print the value of a. So what will be the output? 5 comma is not available there. Actually, it is misleading. They have put it. They didn't copy paste the output. They typed the output. Yeah, understanding. They put it like that. Another function. Say for example, b np once. If I say 5. If I say 5 ones will be created. By default, it is creating what type of data? Float. It is creating float. Okay. Now, if I go for CNP zeros, please don't try the UK English, ZEROES zeros. No, you have to go for US English because most of the softwares are using only US English. So zeros, the spelling is zeros. Now if I say 5, if I print the value of C, now you see the output, all the zeros. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 was created by arrange function, ones are created by ones function, zeros are created by zeros. Why we need this ones function and zeros function? Because if we want to create an array initialized with some values, 10 zeros, 15 zeros, means directly we can go with this function instead of values. Later you will be filling the values. Later you will be filling some of the values. Okay.
So why it's giving float?
It is you can change that data type. By default, it is taking what it is called as float value. See, if you want, you can specify the data type. If data type is missing, then the default value will be float. Default will be float. You can specify data, but most of the time we are dealing with the numerical value. We can go with float safely. Anyway, if you mix with integer, it will end up with what? Automatically everything will be implicit conversion will happen. Implicit conversion will happen. That's why they have kept it default float. So we don't need to worry about data type because we are now going to specify int. If you say n comma int, means it will create int type. Okay, now so far this is clear, right? Gautami and Deepika, is it clear what I am talking about? Different ways of creating NumPy array. What are the functions? One is array function, another one is linspace function, another one is arrange function, another one is zeros function, ones function. All these functions can be used to create NumPy array with values. Only array function permits you to give values. Other functions are accepting some range and it is giving. And now who will explain me what is the difference between linspace and arrange function? It seems both are same. Start, stop, some value. 3 values are there in linspace. 3 values are there in arrange function. What is the difference then? Linspace function and arrange function seems to be same.
Arrange function is range between upper limit to lower limit to upper limit.
Okay.
This way means linearly space is now separated.
Yes. Yes, that is the important part, right? We are dividing that range into how many in this range from 10 to 20. How many values has to be created? 20 values has to be created. 50 values means it will become fraction. It will become fractions. Okay. Now shall I move on to studying that? Shall I project that screen? Okay. Now some mathematical operation. Yes. Okay, one sec. One uses step value, another uses count. That could be a difference. Step value and count. Yes, you are right, Deepika. Yes, it is counting number of values that has to be inserted. Another one is a division. Yes, it is step value. Yes, I agree. Uh, Now moving on. What are the mathematical operations that we can perform on NumPy arrays? Say for example, if you want to add the value, how you are doing, if you want to subtract some value, all fundamental operations can be performed. It is possible to perform various mathematical operations, addition, subtraction, division, etc. on the elements of an array. When we talk about adding a value with array, means we are not adding as a sum of the array. Every element will be added. Every element will be added. The functions of math module can be applied to the elements of any array. There is a math module. It is supporting all kind of mathematical functions. Whatever is square root is one mathematical function. Whatever is a sine, cos, tan, theta, whatever you want, log function, base 10, several functions are there, right, in mathematics. All the functions are available in the math function ready-madely. Just you have to call and you can use that. All those functions can be applicable to NumPy elements. Say for example, if you have an array like K with 5 values or 5 values, if you add 5, all the elements will be increased by 5. If you say minus 5, all the values will be decreased by 5. If you multiply, all the values will be multiplied by 5. If you divide by 5, all the values will be divide array by 5. Now what happened? 50 divided by 5 will become, when you perform division, automatically the value will be converted to float. Because division is prone to produce fractions. It is possible to produce fractions. So NumPy is automatically converting implicitly. So it is taking care of our job. But for safe reason, you try to create numerical values, means NumPy, statistical value, whole number alone rarely you are going to deal with. All the values will be having fractions. Whatsoever may be the mean, median, modes, standard deviation, variance, what? It is not a whole number anyway. It is floating point numbers, right? So you can safely go with the floating point numbers. Apart from this, aligning the arrays. Array doesn't make any new copy of the array defined earlier. It means new array created only reference to the array K. The following example demonstrates the use of aliasing. This concept is not different from the fundamental core Python. NumPy is also based on the same concept. You created an array called as K. You assigned K to H. You are modifying K. You are modifying K. You are modifying K. How to modify? You can modify like this. Same like list, tuple, how you are modifying each element. Specify the index with the square bracket, means it will modify the element. Right? K you are modifying. H, is it reflecting? Yes, it is reflecting. So it means that a separate copy is not created. Both the H and K are referring to the same memory location. If you assign K to H, what will happen? H and K is referring to the same memory location. Modify H, reflecting in K. Modify K, it will reflect in H. Okay. Is this concept difficult to understand? Already Python is supporting the same behavior. Okay. Copy method. Copy method is used to copy the contents of one array to another. The following function demonstrates the use of copy method. K.copy. K.copy means K is a ND array object. ND array object is supporting a method called as copy. Now the same functionality has been demonstrated. Now you see, first you are printing H, it is unaltered. Why? It means that if you want to make a copy, duplication values, go with the copy function. If you don't specify the copy function, both variables will end up with referring to the same memory location. So one changes in one particular array will reflect in another. If you don't want that behavior, You need entirely a new copy, a new variable, and it is stored in a separate memory location. Then you have to go with the which function? Copy function. Got it now? Very simple. Now you tell me, you recall the same behavior we can achieve in a list. How do you achieve that? See, I created a list A. I want to create another list B based on the value of A. If I give B assigned with A, both A, B refers to the same memory location. I don't want that. I want to create a duplicate list of A. How will you do that? Recall?
This copy function also.
You can use copy function.
Plus function also. In case h equal to A and k equal to A, that type of.
We can use list function, right?
Yes, sir.
Directly we can use list within bracket A. List will create a new list and it will be assigned to B. You recall? We don't use copy function. We use list function. If you want to create a new copy of tuple, use the tuple function. You need dict function. Got it now? Yeah, that is what. That is not the style here. That is not the style here. But given values can be two-dimensional array. You can experiment. Can I create one array, NumPy array? That variable I want to use as a argument to the array function again, and create a new array. I am asking to create a new array. See the result. What happens? This is very much similar to the list and tuple behavior. List and tuple behavior. Got it now? What I am trying to tell you? Okay. What is two-dimensional array? If the data items are arranged in a table, then it is called as two-dimensional, because a row is a dimension, column is another dimension. First element is in the 0th row and 0th column. So 0, 0 index value. Second value is in the 0th row but in first column. So 0, 1. Where I am talking about? Here I am talking about 0th row, second column. So and so on. The last value is 2, 2. First value refers to a row value. Second value refers to column value. Both are index values. If you have a two-dimensional array, you cannot use a single index. You have to use multi-dimensional arrays, two index values, to specify and access a particular element. Now you see, some explanation is there. The dimension of an array represents the arrangement of elements in the array. How you have arranged? Dimension talks about arrangement of elements. If the elements are arranged horizontally, it is called a row, and if the elements are arranged vertically, it is called as column. Like this, vertical, horizontal. Horizontal, vertical. When they contain only one row and one column of element, it is called single dimension. Either you have only one single column, call it as one dimension. You have only one row, call it as single dimension. But you have more than one row and more than one column, then we don't call it as single dimension, we call it as multi-dimensional array, or particularly here 2D array. 2D array means two-dimensional array. When an array contains more than one row and more than one column element, it is called the two-dimensional array or 2D array. The following example is demonstrated here in the table that I told you in the beginning. Now, how do you create that? Very simple. Row by row, you have to supply the values. Row by row, you have to supply values. What is the function? There is no difference in the function. There is no difference in the same array function you are going to use. Now, print x means how it will be printing? 2, 4, 6, 6, 8, 10. Number of rows and number of columns are matching. But in advanced arrays, if the value is not available, in other languages, the number of rows and number of columns should match in all the rows and all the columns. First column is 3 value column, second column is 5 value column. It's not possible. Where it is not possible? In other languages. But in advanced NumPy, There are some situations in statistical calculation where the dimension will be 2D, but all the rows and columns will not be having the same number of elements. That type of array is also possible to handle with NumPy. That is the power of NumPy. What I am trying to tell you,
Yes,
the number of rows, it is will be even elements, proper shape. Improper shape is there in the tabular form. In some advanced statistical situation, we have to store that type of data and we have to process. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Using NumPy, it is possible. Is there any difficulty understanding how do we create 2D? 2D array, same function. 2 times you are using, 2 list you are using. First list will be first row, second list will be second row. That's it. What is this ndim multi-dimensional attribute? Ndim means multi-dimension. N refers to multi-dimension. N means any number. Ndim attribute is used to represent the number of dimensions of axis of the array. The number of dimensions are also known as rank. The following example demonstrates the use of the ndim attribute. Attribute means like variable. It is property. In object-oriented programming, attribute means property. For example, I am asking you, what's your height? You are saying, sir, I am 6 feet height. What is this? Property of yours. I am asking, what is your weight? I am 60 kg. What is this 6? Is it an action? You can walk. You can talk. It is action. I am asking you, what is your height and weight? It is just merely attribute of yours. It is merely attribute. So, when I talk about attribute, nothing but we are talking about some values. When I am talking about functions and methods, we are talking about some action. It is doing some action. It is doing some action. Okay. Now, what we are talking about here is ndim attribute is used to represent the number of dimensions of axis of the array. You know the axis. 2 dimension means how many axes? 2 axes is there. X axis and y axis is there. The number of dimensions is also known as rank. Number of dimension is also called as rank. Rank of the data item. 2 rank, 3 rank, something you can call it as. In NumPy context, you can use the words. These words we are not talking about in the context of core Python. When we talk about NumPy, the developers have given some words. To make better understanding of NumPy, we have to use those terms. See, for example, we are creating an array 5, 6, 7, 8. It is A. Another is created. It is obviously 2-dimensional. I am asking ndim, what is the dimension? 1-dimensional array. It says 1-dimensional array. Or ndim property. Ndim is ending with the opening and closing bracket. Or dot ndim opening closing bracket is there. If it is available, it is a function. If it is not available, it is called as attribute. It is called as attribute. Attribute is somewhat like variables. Attributes are somewhat like variables associated with an object. Now, in this case, ndim is associated with the array object. Ndim is the attribute property that is associated with the array object. It is nothing but a value. Now you are asking what dimension of array is, or it says 2-dimensional. Ndim property stores how many axes are there. How many axis is there. Okay. Ndim you clear na? You got that? Yeah. Next attribute is there called as shape attribute. Shape attribute is also nothing but a variable property associated with an array object. Array object. The shape attribute gives the shape of an array. The shape is tuple listing the number of elements along each dimension. A dimension is called as an axis. For 1-dimensional array, it will be display a single value, and for 2-dimensional it will display 2 values separated by comma or commas, represent rows and columns. If you don't understand the paragraph, I will revisit the paragraph. First, see the example. I created import np. First, I am creating a 1-dimensional array. Second, I am creating 2-dimensional array. I am saying k shape means it has given 5 comma in the form of tuple. 5 comma means obviously we know it is a tuple output. tuple
Yes.
output. For the next one, shape is 2, 3. What is it talking about? How many rows are there? How many columns are there? How many rows are there? Endim is not talking about how many rows and how many columns. Endim is talking about what type of dimension that array is containing. One dimensional or two dimensional. That's it. One dimensional, two dimensional, three dimensional. Endim can tell you that. But what is the shape? Means how many rows are there? How many columns are there? For 2D. That one also for 3D you cannot say. Can you say? How many rows are there? How many columns are there? That's why we use the word axis. 2 axis, 3 axis, 4 axis. How many dimension increases? That many axis will increase. Most of the time I told you 1D and 2D are frequently used. Extensively we are using. Rarely 3D are used in very advanced usage. So we don't need to worry about that. You be comfortable with understanding A to Z about 1D and 2D. Later on you can understand. But don't forget the fundamental idea. Fundamental idea is not coming from rows and columns, it is coming from axis. When we talk about the dimension, when we talk about the shape, in the first class I introduced you a 3D shape. In that 3D, how many axes was there? 3 axes was there. How many axes? 3 axes. So it means that we don't need to talk about in terms of rows and columns. Please talk in the number of axes. Axis 0, axis 1, axis 2, axis 3. If you are saying up to 3, it is 4D. 4D array. Right? 0, 1, 2, 3. How many Ds? 4D array. That is what the shape of property is giving us. Shape says that how many rows and columns are there. Okay. Size attribute. The size attribute gives the total number of elements in an array. It is meaningful, easy to understand. How many elements are there? Whether it is 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, how many total elements are there? I want to know that. Say for example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 elements. If I ask 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, how many elements are there? 6 elements are there. It is obvious. Now how many properties you have seen? Lot of properties are there. They are fundamental properties. Very essential properties. Endim property, shape property. Third one now we are seeing size property. Type also. Type what?
What type of data?
Type is function. Generally we can use, right? Even whether it is a list, whether it is a int, whether it is a float, that is type of the data type we are discussing about. Here we are talking about dimension. These properties are dealing with the dimension. Whether it is one dimensional, two dimensional. How many rows are there and columns are there? That is axis, number of axis. Third, how many elements are there? Everything we are talking about the array. Deepika and Gautami, are you able to follow what we are discussing here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Okay, fine. Deepika? Yeah, fine. Okay. Now, moving on. Item size attribute. Item size, please differentiate the word in the context of OOP, attribute and functions and methods are different. Functions and methods are very much similar. Attribute is not. Attribute is properties. For example, you are asking what is the complexion? What is Vinay's complexion? You are saying some answer. He looks like wheatish. Means what is the meaning? You are talking about his properties. How is his hair, blackish or brownish? You are saying blackish. What are you talking about? Properties. You are saying that Vinay can reach his PG by 5 minutes, but simply for example, Somashekar is taking 8 minutes, means what are you talking about? Action. Performance you are talking about. It is related to action. It is not your property. It's not your property. Now, what is this item size attribute? Gives the memory size of array elements in the bytes. Sometime you need technical details. How many bytes has been taken by your array? For example, memory overflow is happening. Something is going wrong. and whether your memory is having the capacity. I told you, no package. Python is not having any limitation for data processing. Only your hardware is having limitation. Only your hardware is having limitation. Your random access computer memory is slow means your CPU is slow, not Python. Can you store millions of data? Yes, of course, in a single list you can store. But you are getting overflow message, it is because of your capacity. That means the hardware limitation. Hardware limitation. Only we say that in Python, only hardware, your computer hardware can limit the capability of Python. Python itself is not limiting anything as long as data processing is constant. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 item size means it is giving 4. What is this 4? Memory size of array elements in bytes. 1 has taken 4 byte, 2 has taken 4 byte, 3 has taken 4 byte, 4 has taken 4 byte, 5 has taken 5 bytes. Sorry, 4 bytes. Got it now? Each element has occupied how many bytes? 4 bytes. So they give memory size of array elements in bytes. Got it now? Okay. What is this reshape method? This is not attribute. This is not you. Simply you can understand whether it is attribute or method. The name end up with bracket, method. It is not ending with bracket. It is attribute. It is attribute. The reshape method is useful to change the shape of an array. Shape means what? Number of rows and columns. Axis. You can modify the axis. These things are not possible in other languages. These things are not possible in other languages. That's why Python is so fond of for data scientists. Because the way you want to play with the data, you can play with. The new array should have the same number of elements as in the original array. Number of elements will not be lost. Shape you can change. For example, you have 3D array. Slowly you can modify it into a 2D array. It is possible by means of reshape. Now you see how many arrays are how many rows are there in the first D? 3 rows and how many columns? 4 columns are there, right? In the example that you are seeing, 4, 5, 6, 7 is number of columns actually. 4, 5, 6, 7 vertical. That is like y-axis. How many rows x-axis? 3 rows are there. Now you are saying that make it 6 rows and 2 columns. Is it 2, 6? How many items? How many elements? 12 elements. Right? How many elements are there? 3, 4? 12 elements. Without losing any element, you are reshaping. You are reshaping. Now, print D means it will print like this. Now 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, 9, 6. Have you seen how we have reshaped? Now you are saying there reshape 12, 1. 12, means 1 means what do you mean? 12 rows, 1 column. What will happen? All the elements will be like this. One single vertical line. One single vertical line. It is nothing but 1D. It is nothing but 1D array. We converted reshape to 1D array. It is not. It is no more 2D array, right? The way you play with the reshape function, the data arrangement inside the memory will change. Shape could have taken from 2D to 1D. Okay. And don't forget, a reshape function can return the modified array. You can store it in a variable. Are you able to observe that? D equal to D dot reshape. Instead of D, keep it D as it is. Keep it D as it is. Store it in E. D is as it is. E is a new array based on D. Reshaped array. Reshaped D is in E. You can do it. Yeah. Now, what is this empty function? Particular specific data type, you can D type equal to int, D type equal to float. You can specify an empty array can be created If you print, it will be like this. Float means something, it is empty values. I can say it is meaningless to you. It is what it is called as, this function is used to create the empty array or uninitialized array of specific data types and shape. So far, how many functions you have seen? What are the methods of creating the array? Array function, linspace function, that is linear space function. Third one is arrange function, fine. Zeros, ones. Now empty function. Empty function is also supported by the NumPy. Create uninitialized value means garbage value. In C++, we call it as garbage. Garbage means what is? In Hindi we say kachra. It is not useful for us. Garbage means waste. So uninitialized means you didn't, zeros and ones are initialized with zeros and ones. It is having a definite value. If you say uninitialized array, it can contain anything. Whatever is available in the memory, it will become the value of the array. It is not our value. It is not useful for me. So we say that it is garbage values. Such type of garbage values are uninitialized array. It is called as uninitialized array. Fine. Are you able to comprehend the floating point numbers? Did I give these numbers? We didn't give. Whatever available in the memory, it has loaded. Already some program was using that memory location, right? It is not cleaning the memory. It would have closed. Some value was kept. Now our program reserved that memory location. That value it has taken. And it is displaying. It is not ours. So we say that if I didn't give value, some value has been displayed, we can say that it is uninitialized value. It is uninitialized value. Indexing in 2D dimension array. 2D arrays, index represents the location number. Already we know. Index means wherever you go in the core Python also the same idea. Index means it refers to the location of element. Individual elements of an array can be accessed by specifying the location number of the row and column of the array as follows. Is it difficult? We didn't use this notation in a dictionary. We used or not? One key can contain multiple values in the form of list. How can you access that? This is the notation. In one square bracket, the key value, the next will be index value of the list. Have you specified? Same notation we are using here. If you have 3 index value, you have to specify like this 3 square brackets. 0, 0 means 2 zeros within square bracket. 1, 3 means you have to specify like this when you are typing the program, Python program. It refers 0th row, 0th column, first row and a third column. The whole story is explained in this image. What are the each box is referred in your program. We know that 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Same thing, put it in the square bracket. Is it difficult?
No, sir.
Fine. Now, slicing in 1D array. This is very important for us, data processing. When we talk about any array, if we have multiple values, we have to go for slicing. Slicing is not much different from list and notation is same. Start, stop and step value. Start, stop and step value. It has to be specified inside the square bracket. All the 3 values can be separated by colon. If you specify only one value without any colon, what is that value? Index. If you don't use colon, it refers to index. If you put colon, immediately you can say that I am not accessing any index value, I am accessing slicing operation. I am doing some slicing operation. You just recall the same notation. There is no difference. What we discussed in Python core, it is applicable to NumPy package also. Now, take the example. Here now we are saying negative indexing and positive indexing. NumPy is supporting also forward and backward indexing for its array. We are talking about here one dimensional array, 1D array. This is 1D. Either only one row or only one column means what is it? 1D. If I say colon 5, I am referring to 0 to 5. That is what you are seeing the output. 0 to 5. That is minus 1. Right or wrong? It will be less than 1. A colon 2 means 0 to up to the end, but steps should be how much? 2. So 6 will be displayed, 7 will not be displayed, 8 will be displayed, 9 will not be displayed, 23 will be displayed. Next element is not available, so over. Got it now? Next, minus 1, minus 5, minus 3, negative indexing. From beginning to end by step minus 1. So 23, 9, 8, 7. Why it is not coming 0? Minus 5 will not obviously included. Whatever you are specifying, one step down or one step before, it will stop. So what you have done, you reversed the list or array. Here we are not discussing about list. We have reversed the elements of an NumPy array. Fine. 2 minus 2. 2 up. Start from 2 up to minus 2 means what? Minus 2 should not be included. So what is that before that one? 2 is the before one. So 8 will be displayed. 8 will be displayed. If you need any one element in slicing, you have to go for this notation. You can say I can access 8 by simply 2. That is the result. That is indexing notation. I am talking about slicing notation. In slicing notation, you specify the index number in both positive and negative. One particular element will be displayed. One particular element will be sliced out. Okay. Now, in two-dimensional, what are the slicing mechanism? This is something you have to give focus to. So far you didn't slice this type of data. List you have done, tuple you have done, all string you have done. Only one dimension is, in list how many dimensions are there? One dimension. If you deal with tuple in the context of NumPy, we can say it is one dimensional. If you talk about a string, it is also one dimensional. But you can make it multi-dimensional also. You can make it multi-dimensional actually. How are you doing? List also can be made as multi-dimensional. How? Nested list? Nested list, what will happen? Sublist, right? Multi-dimensional array, right or wrong? Okay. Now you have to specify row part and column part like this. If you don't practice, you cannot understand 2D array slicing. If I explain you also, you will not make sense as long as if you don't work out. Take a paper, pen and sit. Modify the step value and all in row part and column part. Are you able to see two parts are there? Two parts are separated by a comma. Row part and a column part. Modify how it is slicing. Why I am getting this output? Work out in paper and pen. 2 or 3 exercises is sufficient for you to make sense of 2D slicing. 2D slicing. So what is the general syntax? Name of the array as usual, within square bracket as usual, start, stop, step value as usual, but 2 times start, stop value separated by comma. Why? Because it is 2D. First dimension and a second dimension you have to mention. First dimension refers to row, second dimension refers to column. Some advanced arrays you can create. This is row measure order. This is called as row measure order. Row measure order means first value refers to row. 2, 3 means 2 refers to row. 3 refers to column. You can also create called as column measure order. First row will not refer to row, it will refer to column. Second value will refer to row. So we can say that a row measure order, column measure order. What do you mean by row measure order? First value refers to row value. What is column measure order? First value refers to column index. It refers to column index. How? Just you imagine. Close your eyes and imagine. If you are accessing a array, row by row you are going. Column by column, it means what will happen? First column, then it will go to next column, then it will go to next column. Got it now? Just in computer we need imagination. Instead of breaking our head in front of sitting computer, just we can imagine, close your eyes, imagine how it is. You draw a picture in your imagination. Oh, like this, okay, I will be moving like this, like this. That will help you a lot. Okay, now you see, I want to slice like this. What is the slicing? 0th row to first row, 0th column to second column. The red color refers to, green color refers to something. 0 to 2, 0 to 3. Instead you can put it colon 2, colon 3 also same meaning. Yeah. What are you saying? 0 to 2. Take 0th row and a first row. 2 will not be included. Second row will not be included. But in column you are saying that take 0 to 2 column. 0, 1, 2. Third column will not be included. Third column is which one? 56 and 12. 56 and 12. This is the way we are slicing. If you specify A colon 2 comma colon 3, it refers to 11, 2, 3, 40, 50 to 16. You are slicing out a new two-dimensional array by means of slicing technique. Are you able to make sense how it is slicing? Right or wrong? 0 to 2 means take 0th column, row, first row. Colon 3 means take 0, take column 1, take column 2 in the same row. Now, in the second example, 2 colon 4 comma 3 colon, you are saying like this. What are you talking about? Go to second row up to third row. In the row wise, go to second row. 0, 1, second row. Right. Up to the fourth row means up to third row. 2 and 3. 2 and 3 is taken. But in column, how many columns? 3 up to end. 3 column means what is? Starting from 3 up to the end. That's why up to the end it has taken. Now, when you say this slicing notation, it will curve out 32, 22, 44, 49. Got it now? This one, if you don't understand, in the beginning itself I caution you, please practice. Take a paper and pencil. How can I curve this one? What will be the notation? How to write that? Implement in computer. If it is not working, what is the mistake that you have committed? Identify. 3 or 4 exercises will make you understand better. Okay. Now if you want this one, the green color, if you want to slice out, what is the notation? Colon to 2 colon. Colon to 2 colon. 2 colon, 3 colon. The yellow portion will be curved out. How, what, why? Experiment. Take a paper and pencil, imagine how it will be curved out. Now you see 0, 1, 0, 1. What will happen? One single element will come out. Single element by element you can access like this. You want a particular element 2, 3, 1, 2. Second row up to second row, that means the only second row. First column. That means the first column. Which element it is intersecting? 8 is the element that is intersecting. In the beginning it will confuse, I know. Two-dimensional array slicing operation is somewhat prone for confusion. Only practice can make you perfect. Okay. This is another example. Colon, colon 4, colon, colon 3. Step value is there. Starting from 0 up to the end. Step value is how much? 4. In column, how many step value? 3. So it will curve out, not a portion. The new 2D array will be having 11, 56, 25, 78. That will become a new array. So far, how we have curved out? A particular area has been curved out. But here randomly you are choosing some element and you are curving out and you are creating a 2D array. Now this notation will give you 11, 56, 25, 78 as one array. Negative indexing is also possible. And now it is 7:40. Let me stop here. As I said, tomorrow we are going to take the class because I was Deepika. Am I audible to you, Deepika? Deepika? Deepika, we are planning for tomorrow is a holiday, so we are planning morning class from 8:30 to 9:30. If you want, you can join offline. Otherwise, you can take the class online. But the classes will be from 8:30 to 9:40. Is it comfortable for you? Tomorrow is Kannada Rajotsav, right? It is a government holiday. Deepika. Okay, yeah, tomorrow. Fine. Okay, friends, thanks for joining today's session. Tomorrow we'll meet in morning class. Only tomorrow, only from 8:30 to 9:30. Thank you.